Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Overdress Gravidia Meteor deck profile for post-awakening of Chakrabarthi. This is a very interesting deck that takes focus on the set order, the Meteorite, and the Gravidia lineup, being an alien type of deck that focuses on sending a bunch of the different Meteor orders from our order zone to the drop zone to gain additional card abilities depending on how many you sent. With the release of set 4, we were given more support for the deck, its second wave of support altogether since coming out from set 3. So with it, I'm happy with the results. It definitely adds a little more consistency than just focusing on 16 meteorites in total. For the deck, you can mix around some of the numbers with some of the other set orders we got for a little more monster unit mashup altogether. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll start off with the ride deck. For our grade 0, we're running Gravidia Dellen, just like all the other grade 0s in D format. When this unit is rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. So pretty standard. For the grade 1, we're running Gravidia Wells. I even thought of running additional copies of this card. I decided on another grade 1, but if you were to run a second copy of Wells, I'll show you what grade 1 it would be. You would take out for it. With this card, when it's placed on Vanguard, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck and choose any number of meteorite cards from them and add to your hand and shuffle your deck. So with the number we're running in the deck, there's a good chance you'll at least hit a couple of the meteorite cards with this reveal. So very, very useful for that additional plus, since it says any additional number of meteors from your deck to your hand. Our grade 2 is Gravidia Barringer. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or rear, if you have a meteor in your order zone, you Soul Blast 2 for the 3 and draw a card, and this unit gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. So the meteors also provide soul buildup. So if you activate one the previous turn, you should be able to at least have the 3 in soul to draw a card and have this unit get plus 5,000 power. With the last of the ride deck being the Gravidia Nordlinger, it's your main go-to setup card. That's why additionally with the ride deck, we are running 3 more copies of this card. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, search your deck for up to 2 meteorite cards, put them into your order zone, shuffle your deck, and on Vanguard Circle, when this unit attacks, you can counterblast 1 and put 1 or more meteorites from your order zone into the drop zone. Until the end of that battle, this unit gets plus 15,000. If you put 3 or more meteorites, it gets an additional critical. And if you put 5 or more, your trigger effects activate twice, meaning if you get a critical, you'll have the option to give the power and crit to 2 things on the field, or just double up on 1 unit. And the same goes for front triggers, activating twice as well. So plus 10,000, then an additional plus 10,000 to the front row. And for the other grade 3 from the newest set 4 support, we are running 4 of the Gravidia Baku Birito. When this unit is placed on rearguard, Soul Blast 1, choose a meteor card from your drop zone and put it into your order zone. So it's a great recycle option for your meteor zone, just being able to put more and more before you attack with your Nordlinger, being able to at least set up those ones that you used previously during the turn. And during your turn, if your opponent's rearguard was retired this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power, and if 3 or more were retired, it gets critical plus 1. So the retire will come in the form of the meteor set order, having this card be the retire power when it is sent from the order zone to the drop zone. So you'll have all your additional power that you'll give for being able to recycle with Nordlinger, and then the additional critical and plus 5 when you send those meteors. And that's it for the grade 3s. Moving on now to the grade 2s. I am running 4 of the Gravidia Stanner on Vanguard, on rearguard or guard circle. If your drop zone or order zone has a total of 5 or more set orders, this unit gets plus 5,000 power and shield plus 5,000. So it's great for the interset option, but also 15k means that it can normally hit most of the grade 3 Vanguards when it attacks into that Vanguard on its own. We don't really have too many grade 1 boosters. We rely mostly on the trigger lineup and just the front row in general for their own power setup. So having this power plus with Gravidia Standard definitely will come in handy, and you should have all of those orders set up, whether it be in the drop zone or in the order zone for you to use. And then for the last of the grade 2s, I also run 2 of the new Gravidia Shergo. On rearguard, once per turn, use Soul Blast 2, choose up to 5 meteorite cards from your drop zone, return them to your deck, and shuffle it. If you return 1 or more cards until the end of this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000. If you return 3 or more cards, it gets plus 5,000. And if you return 5 or more, it gets plus 5,000. So you have the power up with Shergo, but it's also the recycle power, being able to set up some of the meteorites from the drop zone, thanks thanks to Burrito, and then also have the Shergo recycle any more of them, so you always have those numbers in the deck. So you can do some deck thinning. Then when your numbers are even lower, you'll be able to at least have the option not to deck out of this deck, which when set 3 came out, that was the biggest fear, just decking out before you would even have any of your plays, because this deck definitely does go through and have a lot of hand consistency. You just need that recycle power in the form of all these cards. And you really don't have to worry about soul buildup either, because every time you activate one of those meteors, you have the play for you to then set up those cards for your soul charge every time you activate one. And that comes in handy whenever you ride your Gravidia Nordlinger also. That is it for the grade 2s. For the grade 1s, I am running 1 of the Gravidia B. When this unit is placed on rear, if your order zone has 3 or more meteorites, counter +1, draw a card and choose up to 1 meteorite from your hand and put it into your order zone. So normally you can only activate 1 meteorite since it's an order per turn. But with cards like Nordlinger or a B, you can also just put additional ones there that much more quickly. If you were to run Gravidia Wells as an additional option with its rear guard ability once per turn, if your Vanguard is Nordlinger, Soul Blast 1, choose up to 2 meteors from your hand, put them into your order zone, and this unit gets plus 2,000. You can take out this card for a B. It depends on player preference on which one you want to run. I like a B more for the draw option as well, because you could potentially draw into more guard cards, since with having a lot of orders that don't have any shield, you need more of those resources to at least protect yourself from your opponent's attacks. And for the last of the grade 1s, I just run 4 Violate Dragon, being the Sentinel of choice, especially if you have less cards in your hand. You can guard the first attack with that Violate Dragon, and if your opponent gets an over trigger, you at least have the last one in your hand to guard with no hand cost at all, blocking it, especially if they also get an additional critical trigger or something that would just be bad for your on-hits Vanguard. And now moving on to the orders. We do run a good number of orders since the meteorites are the main focus. I'm running 8 of the Neatness Meteor Shower. Now the reason I'm running 8 of this card is because one more order that we got from the latest set with the Neatness Meteor Shower with its card skill. You may have up to 16 in the deck, but once again I decided on 8 for this number. And when this unit is put into the order zone, you may soul charge 1. If it was put by your Vanguard's ability, you may also draw a card. And when this unit is put into your drop zone from the order zone, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So that's where the retire power comes in handy for Gravidia Burrito, since it also will get the additional power and critical off of that. And all the soul charge power will come in handy with Shergo's recycle or even some of the draw setup, like with our grade 2 ride target Gravidia Barringer. The next order, and the reason why I'm running less of the Neatness Meteor Shower, is the Falling Hell Hazard. When you would count the number of meteorite cards to put from your order zone into your drop zone for the cost of your Vanguard's ability, this card counts as 2. So this card counting as 2 of the meteorites just helps additionally. It's one of those cards you want to activate from your hand for the search, and when this card is put from the drop zone, from the order zone, bind this card and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So it can't be recycled like the other meteorites, since those cards come in handy with the Shergo skills, but being able to count as 2 just makes it that much more consistent for us just to activate it from the hand and set it up for us in the order zone and then send as one of the 3, because then you'll just need one of these cards and one of the Neatness Meteor Showers to count as 3 in total. And then moving on now to the trigger lineup, I'm running 7 for the lineup. Actually 8 critical, so 4 of the Patrol Robo Decker Corp, which helps for the soul charge power, and 4 of the Cardinal Draco, just the more generic option for the critical. I like the pressure. I didn't really want one draws in this deck because you would just deck out that much more quickly with how much you could draw, especially if you get double trigger power altogether. So I am running 3 of the front triggers instead. The Impero, just having the additional +5 shield to guard against your opponent using this card. And lastly, for the triggers, 4 of the heal. I find the Cardinal ones to be the most fitting. They seem like the alien lineup compared to the Valkyries from the start deck. And lastly, our over trigger is Elder Breath, along with just being able to get all the triggers twice thanks to Cardinal Nordlinger. Being able to then double all of those triggers makes it all the more scary. Your opponent can be at 1 damage, and if you do resolve Nordlinger with a critical trigger and then Elder Breath, that could be game right then and there. So one, your opponent will definitely not want to no guard against your own Vanguard if you go all in for that setup and get lucky enough. But then as for the plays, just remember you have to set up the meteors in your order zone. So having this be your go-to activation from the hand, and then relying on Nordlinger to set up all the other meteors, and then just activating them early on since it is a grade 1 order. You can activate it right when you ride into your first target. That's the biggest thing to remember with the deck, but I definitely do like it being a lot more consistent and not so over abundant with the meteors now in the deck for you to use. But that is it for the deck profile. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.